run migration jobs using AvePoint Elements Fly, you need to set up the sources and destinations for those migration jobs as what are called connections. To create a connection, log into Fly, and then over on the left under Management, we go to Connection Manager. Across the top, you will see the various types of connections that are going to be available. In order to create a connection, select that type and then click the Add button. For SharePoint, you have two different ways that you can create connections. One is through the use of a pre-configured app profile, which you could have set up under App Management over on the left-hand side. The only thing the app profile really needs is the name of the global administrator account for that particular Office 365 tenant and its password. Once you've entered in those credentials, it can create and authorize the app to be able to work on Fly's behalf to access the source or destination and then perform the migration jobs. Or you can use an account. The account would be someone with the permissions to go into SharePoint, whether it's SharePoint on premises or SharePoint online, and be able to read through that entire hierarchy and see all the different objects at all the various levels. If you have gone through App Management and created the app profile, which you can see I have done here using an Office 365 demo tenant, I can select that. And then down at the bottom, I have to provide the site collection. In this particular case, the site collection could be really any site collection within this particular tenant. Of course, if this was SharePoint on premises, you would use the URL for that site collection. Down at the bottom, if I check off Select an Agent to run migrations, in this particular installation, I've got the Fly Manager and the Fly Agent running on my Surface, so that's why you're seeing that name come up. So essentially, I've done a complete install on this particular machine. Real world, if you've installed the Fly Manager on a server and you've installed agents on separate servers, you can pick and choose which ones it is that you want to be assigned to which of these particular scopes. That means that when that scope is involved in a migration, that agent will be in charge of doing the work. If everything looks good, down at the bottom I click Add, and you can see we have successfully created it. I'm going to create another one by again clicking Add, this time using the Account option. So I'll click into Account, I will paste in the name of an appropriate account, an account with the appropriate permissions within that scope. Again, I'm using another Office 365 demo tenant, but as we mentioned before, could be on premises as well. Then I will load the site collection, and down at the bottom I will select the same agent. I will then click Add, and we can see that connection has now also been created. So you would continue to do this by going maybe over to File System. Each one of the different connections, of course, is going to have different requirements. File System is going to be looking for a share somewhere on the network or possibly even on that individual machine. If we do Exchange, we have to choose between Exchange on-prem, which requires a little bit of information, and Exchange online to go from tenant to tenant. I can do G Suite, which requires me to know things like the domain, the admin account and service account. Office 365 is used for your teams and groups migrations. This requires an app profile to be used and then the password for the account that is authorizing the app. And then finally Slack. Again, just slightly different information. So whichever connections you plan on using for either source or destination, you must have those set up as connections first in Fly, otherwise you will not have anything that you can choose from when you want to go and create the migration job.